He asked the hard questions.
Hey everyone, welcome to Happy Hour with Buzzing About Romance. I am Becky.
I am Leah. And
And
tonight we have special guest Krista Sandor.
Do I get to talk? Should I talk
You
now?
can talk whenever
talk.
you want.
Talk all the things.
It's great. Thank you guys so much. Truly, like this book was like a labor of love, and I'm so excited to talk about it. So
We're excited to talk about it. We each have our own copy.
We do.
We went visiting the Krista Sandor signed book store.
Now, he is a beefy book.
So beefy. But I love these covers. Like Leah and I were just talking about this. So like this one, Nanny and the Beefcake, we like that he has chest hair.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's real.
He's like, he has a nice smirk. Like he doesn't have like that douchey smirk face. Like, you know how you look at some covers and they're like smirking, but then they like look really douchebaggy and you're like, I don't like his face. He has a good smirk.
He does. This is Eric Mckinney from 612 Photography. These are one of his models, and I found this model on Instagram. I can't remember, way back when I bought this picture, but it was so weird because like his girlfriend looked just like how Libby looks in the book. I'm like, oh my God.
It was kismet.
Yeah, right. I know. I like this guy.
I don't know, but they all smirk really well. Like, look at those smirks.
I know.
I just love these covers. I love how real they are because I was watching a TikTok earlier today and it was a chef, doing a parody of a line cook interview. And he's like, do you have tattoos? And the guy's like, and he's like, what do you play? Which way can you look? And he like looked where the chef would be standing. And he's like, what are you going to do on your break? On lunch? And the guy's got like a Monster Energy and a cigarette in his mouth. And I'm like, hey, that's Mitch. That's so Mitch, like right there.
Right.
It's hothead in the making.
I know. Oh, gosh. It's so weird to think that I'm 3 books in. And that we're gonna be like rounding out this series. And I'll let you so there's gonna be Heartthrob. And then there's going to be 2 like next gen books where you get to see the kids.
I love that.
This does not make me sad because I am obsessed with Penelope, the hot dog princess.
No, Phoebe.
Phoebe. Penelope is the heroine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Phoebe, the hot dog princess who is obsessed with cookies. And the whole, like, in the beginning of Beefcake where she talks about, and there are never boxes with hidden cookies in the garage. And I'm like, who told my secret?
This girl is so smart. She's even like, even into writing a Heartthrob, she's already like.
Well, and Becky and I were talking, one of our favorite parts is when Phoebe makes Sebastian say her name like over and over again with like all of her titles.
Like, just say it. Like, because you know how sexy it sounds to have like that British.
Yeah, and she's like at like 7, because she's 7, I think, in the book. And so at 7, like she knows, like, if he says my name and all my titles that I have bestowed upon myself.
Remember that when the next gen books come out, because she's gonna need that man to say her name.
I love that. Okay, do our intro correctly so we can get into all the fun.
Okay, so welcome to the Buzzing About Romance Happy Hour edition. Tonight we are celebrating author Krista Sandor and her newest book in the Nanny Love Match series, The Nanny and the Beefcake. Do you want to read her bio, Becky?
Oh, geez.
I do. Because it's super short. Yeah. It's super short. USA Today bestselling author Krista Sandor writes steamy contemporary romance with toe-curling hot heroes and heroines you will want as your best friends. And that is not a lie, because I believe that I have claimed Charlotte from The Nanny and the Hothead. We have Leah and I are part of a group of bookstagrammers that and I think that was, Krista, I think that was one of our first interactions on Instagram. On Thursdays, we pair books with music that we think theme to the book. And I picked Nanny and the Hothead, and I paired it with Do You Hear the Bells from the musical Hairspray, because
you could play that right now.
yeah, I love that song, and I thought, yes, it's that moment where like you're with the person you're supposed to be, and do you hear those bells ringing? And I have claimed her as like my BFF in romance. So
she's a good egg.
She is a good egg. I like her.
Well, because she wore a mermaid outfit and got drunk on tequila. She's kind of my sister.
Did you like the tequila?
You know, that's a real place in Denver with the Margaret. Yeah, it's called the Rio, and it's downtown, and it's like a 2 margarita, like that's all you can get. But in my earlier days, before I was a mom, we'd like go down there and we would drink before, and then we would go to the Rio, and I mean, it really knocked you right out.
It's my kind of place.
It was when I was still like a little nice teacher, and I was with like my other little nice teacher friend, and we ran into like parents that kids that are, it was so crazy. The waiter ended up like explaining how I needed to have my car fixed. Like it was like one of those nights where you're like, my whole life just changed that night. Like I roll in and my husband's just like, who are you? I'm like, I don't know who I am. So that's a real place. Those drinks are really, and if you don't know, I don't know what they do to them there, but they're.
So when we go visit Krista,
we'll go to the Rio.
We're going to go to the Rio and have tequila.
Okay, so the rules of the night.
Oh,
you can ask. We're still going. It's fine.
Okay.
You can ask any question you want in the chat, and Becky will do her best to tell us what those questions are, and we will do our best to answer them because Becky is in charge of the chat tonight. So
right, and I filled my glass. It says "Get pucked up," and I had like a third of a bottle of Jam Jar left, and I'm like, I'm just going to see if it all fits in the cup. So it's to the tippy top. See, and she brought her own bottle.
Well, and I feel like left out because I'm drinking beer tonight.
That's okay. It's all right.
I came downstairs and I did not want to go back up the steps, and we only had beer in the basement. So
but that's all you get.
It's all I get.
Okay, get the beer.
So I guess we already kicked things off, so we don't have to do that part.
I know we don't. Should we toast? Like
we can toast
your podcast and everything you guys do for romance. Let's just to you guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Get emotional. And I can tell you, I haven't worn makeup in 2 years, so this could be. And this is old makeup, so by the end of this, it might look like my face is just like
melting off.
She'll look like Two-Face from Batman. Like one side will be great and the other side will be like.
Well, and all that wine, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
So did you put what we're giving away? Did you say what we're giving away? Because Krista has
I didn't.
Assigned. Have you gotten that far yet?
I didn't get to that yet.
Oh, look at us. We're a mess.
It just started chaotic. It started at a good spot.
We're like liquor.
I love nights like this. They're the best. But no, Krista has brought how many? 3?
Sure.
Oh,
do you have a number?
Do you have a number?
I mean, it can be 3. You pick it. Yeah. I'm just looking at the shelf. Yeah, it can be 3.
It's up to you. You're the one giving it away.
No, I like 3 is a nice odd number.
Okay, so 3 signed paperbacks.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll send you some adorable book swag. Check out this pin that I got in the mail from her.
I will.
And a scrunchie.
Oh, I use my scrunchie all the time.
I just love the stickers, and I have to tell you, I'll take a picture tomorrow and put it on the Instagram, but
I want to see it.
Your certified book hoard sticker that you sent me is right on my laptop, right by my mouse pad. So I think of you every day, Krista.
I put my stickers.
As you should, Becky.
In my sticker bag. But I did. So I had bought a Vixen signed paperback, and I discovered the magnet that you hid in it. I didn't know you put a magnet in there. I was so excited.
I love swag. If I can jam swag into whatever I can, I would. I mean, that's what makes life so happy.
I was talking to Becky, and I opened the book and it fell out.
Vixen is the best Christmas romance ever. And we talked about it in our episode that we had with you. And I am still to this day telling people to go and read Vixen.
So Vixen, guess who you're going to see a little bit of in Heartthrob.
Yes.
I cannot wait.
So happy.
Well, you talked about going back and trying to do figure out some things. And I was like, what? We're going back? I love that.
It like, I don't want to give too much away, but it fits. It does, like, it's not like I'm like, oh, look who's on the street.
But you do that though, because the Bergens like show up, and then your Langley Park duo showed up in the last book. So you like to sprinkle your old characters in, but you don't just plop them. Like, they make sense.
It makes sense.
That's my favorite. I love that in books. I love when there's a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Sarah Donati and I'm trying to think of the Diana Gabaldon. There's a tiny little crossover of some characters. Like, I was really into like all those books for a while. Mm-hmm. And just like whenever you see, like, I remember Claire was like on the battlefield in one of the Sarah Donati books, and I was just like, I don't know why. I think it's because our brains just love those connections, and they love the, you know. So I just decided, and with Nanny Love Match, I decided I was going to put everything I love into this series. Like, I was on the phone with my Sarah S.E. Rose, and I'm like, these are the things I love, and and then Nannies, and she was like, you know, you need, like, everybody needs an S.E. Rose in their life. She's like, yeah, do it. I'm like, the books are gonna be beast. She's like, do it.
No, you know what though? I tell everyone. So I'm obsessed with the movie Enchanted by Disney. And when someone is like, oh, you know, I'm looking for like a true rom-com, and I'm like, did you like the movie Enchanted? And they'll be like, yeah, I did like that movie. I was like, then you have to read the Nanny Love Match series, because it is Enchanted in steamy, sexy form. And like Beefcake. So on the Buzzing About Romance podcast, we do what we call POP, which is put out percentage. It's the percentage of the book that we have to read in order before there is on page P and V. And
but it doesn't necessarily have to be P and V. It can be.
We've had mutual masturbation.
I read a mutual masturbation scene yesterday, and it was definitely the pop in that book.
Super hot, especially when a wall separates them.
Like, these two on the washer. That was a little spoily, but these two, they pop.
But it happens at like 12%, so it's not really spoily.
They pop. This book, it pops, and it pops a lot.
Quick. She needs it to pop. She's been like,
she does.
If you read Hothead, she's not okay.
She is not okay.
So what inspired you to do Nannies?
I think I just like, so I kind of like the dynamic, like kind of the power dynamic, right? Mm-hmm. But I also really like sort of that vulnerable single dad, because sometimes they really do have to kind of put up that front, and or they're just really crap at it, or like in these books where they're really thrown into it. That's sort of the premise of these situations, is that they sort of need help. I just sort of like everybody starting from this point where they think they know what they need, but it's not what they need, right? Like women all think they want, you know, but they all get there together. So I don't know. I mean, to be totally honest with you, I'm trying to think of any Nanny books that I just really loved, and I just can't think of any, but I like the idea.
I love a Nanny romance. I do. I really love that single dad. There's a couple of
with the kids, like with the, you know, like the kids in, you always sort of see, like, somebody might be like a jerk in real life, then you like meet their kid, you know, it's just a different side. I just love that.
Well, and it adds, so for you, you know, some people don't always love kids in romance, and with a Nanny romance, you're going to get kids, right? Yeah. But you do a fantastic job of balancing how much of the kids are in the story and how much of it is truly the couple and their relationship. And it's such a great balance that it is enjoyable. While the kids are adorable, and we were talking about that before we went live about how much we love the kids, this truly is the journey to the HEA for the hero and the heroine, because a lot of times the heroes have to get their heads out of their ass so that they are better dads.
I mean, like this is my whole thing. This is their whole journey. I bet you can't see, and this is probably gonna look like it. And the Unabomber, but like I really need to know, I need to know what the shard is, what the hole in their heart is, what they want, but what they need. And then usually there's like a unifying thing, like what do both characters need? And so like they both needed balance in Beefcake.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like the unifying thing. But then I mean, so like I just have to, it has to be about both of them. Like they both have to have a real journey.
I will say though, like reading Beefcake, reading Hothead, reading Nerd, Rowan and Penny do not have, there's nothing thrown at Rowan. And it kind of disappoints me a little bit.
I know, it's more of like him in his head and him.
Because we have salad throwing in Hothead.
Oh,
and and other throwing in Beefcake.
The dildos. When I read that scene, I messaged Krista and I'm like, oh my God, this is the best.
Well, when Becky texted me like right away, she's like, she's throwing dildos, like not even like one or two, but like a bag of them.
16 of them.
Bag. And then like, so then I have to call like my attorney friend. I'm like, so exactly what would you get arrested for if you would throw dildos at people? And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, not that. Yeah.
Like I don't need to know for personal reasons.
Right,
I need to know for story structure.
You're right. Nothing got thrown at Rowan.
No.
Maybe in the next book.
Yeah.
He needs a book thrown to his head because if you think about it, it's very symbolic as to what gets thrown at the dudes.
Yes.
Because, we got salad, now dildos.
You're right.
I mean, you can't really throw his computer at him, though. He might cry.
Like a mouse. Could throw the mouse. In the chat, true. If you are following along in the chat, I put Krista's TikTok login, or not her login, her follow page. Do not log into Krista's TikTok. Just follow Krista on TikTok. As she said to me the other day, she's like, I'm a little late to that game. I don't think you're late because earlier this week, there was a whole thing on the TikTok that Book Talk was dead because we only ever see the same 4 books. And I'm like, I don't know what FYP page you're looking at, but mine, I get like 60 books. I also happened to all of a sudden stumbled onto pregnancy TikTok, and I don't want to be there anymore. I need to get out.
Yeah.
How did you even do that?
I don't know, but I am past the age of little children. And
I do have a request though for TikTok. When you are showing your pages or doing a book, please put the book title on the TikTok and not in the comments.
Wait, you haven't done it though. I don't know that you've done it.
I don't think you have.
I don't know how to do anything. Right now, I'm just bullshitting my way through TikTok.
No, that's fine. But no joke. 4 TikToks in a row. I was like, oh, that book sounds really good. I couldn't find the title of the book.
Krista, what you have to do. So here is how I navigate TikTok. When I need a video made, I bribe my child with Starbucks. And then she does all my fancy transitions and makes my TikToks. So you should scout your neighborhood for like a young teen and be like, hey, are you on the TikTok?
I have a 14-year-old upstairs.
I was gonna say you have a young
teach
teen.
him. I guess I thought your boys were like 12 and 10. So
10 and 14. Look at me trying to remember.
10 and 14. You should make your children learn to do the TikTok.
They can probably do it.
I know.
They're way better at technology than we are.
Essie Rose says she has bail money for when you go throwing the dildos. And Carrie says she was at the cardiologist with her mom when she read that scene.
Wait, no, this is my Carrie. That's the Carrie who the book is dedicated to, right?
Oh, it is Carrie Thaxton.
Yes. Yes. Carrie could never leave me.
She can never leave you.
She's
You know, Krista
you.
like kind of tribes us all in, you guys. I mean, Leah and Krista are best friends.
Leah and I were born at the same hospital.
We were born in the same hospital in a really, really small town.
Like a really
like a Western PA. Yeah. So we bonded over our birth.
So Jen says
it'd be really crazy
it's
if it was
worst.
At the same time.
Jen says it's the worst. Holy clickbait, and it drives her insane when she has to search for the friggin' title on TikTok. And Christina says if it's not in the video and then also not in the comments, she gets mad. She hates that. And Christina does not get mad. She's so nice.
She's very mellow.
There's nothing worse than hearing. Do you know? There's nothing worse than like wanting to read something and then not knowing.
Well, and it's like, I don't want to have to search for that shit. Like, if you're going to promote your book, just tell me what it is. Like, just put a little sticky in the corner or something.
Right.
If you can do that. I don't work the TikTok.
I have to.
Becky does that.
Yeah. And Becky doesn't even really do that well.
The videos.
I know. I saw. So someone made a video, a TikTok video. I don't know if it was you guys of the book, but I wasn't even sure like how to like it. So I'm just like hitting stuff.
Oh, it was me. I did a review.
Okay.
I have a whole series. I have a whole series coming up of like, I went through all of my books. I'm so far behind in reviews for everything. So I was like, I had a stack of books on my side table because legit in our office, I have 4 desks.
Oh my gosh.
Because
books.
I have piles. I'm a piler and they're everywhere. And so I was like, ooh, I'm going to clean up these piles. So I just started making videos and I did a whole series for the bad boys of the Nanny.
I must have. Okay. I tried to like it.
It's okay.
I don't know if I did.
It's okay.
Well, I mean, you're telling us, so that makes it work better.
I like it. There we go.
It's fine. You don't have to like them. I just do them.
Let's talk about Raz and Livy just a little bit. So Raz hold.
I am putting Krista's Book Babe group on the Facebook, and you should go over there and join. She's always got cool conversations and fun things going on, and she's got a giveaway going on in her group right now too for an Amazon card and a copy of the Nanny and the Beefcake, which I just lovingly refer to as the Beefcake.
I just call it Beefcake too. I know. I don't think my kids know these are Nanny books. They're like Hothead Beefcake. It's just
that's the thing. Like Mitch's book, I don't think Becky and I ever call it the Nanny and the Hothead. We're just like Hothead.
It's the Hothead book.
It's like Madonna. It only needs one word.
It only needs one.
Okay, you can ask about Libby and Raz.
Okay, so where was the inspiration for that? Look at you two with your tumblers.
Cheers, Fred. Anyway.
Where was the inspiration for Raz?
I just knew I wanted, so I've never done like a sports character before, but I wanted to do a sport that wasn't like done a whole lot. And I do a decent amount of kickboxing. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I could understand that a little bit more. I mean, I don't look good when I do it. But I just thought just sort of I always sort of like those opposites. So like to think of somebody who's really zen and then like think of like the Conor McGregor's, like all the, like he's like a, like they're just their energy levels are 2 different places. So that was sort of I knew I needed to balance her out because I knew I was going to have her all zen.
Well, I love Libby. I think honestly, like Becky loves Charlotte. Penny's pretty cool, but I love Libby because she is like in the first 2 books, she's this like real like calming force. But in this one, she is a hot mess of chaos when this book starts. And I love her so much.
She's such a mess. This book really went out of control, like with the birds.
Oh yeah, when I don't want to tell you what that is, but it's so funny.
But like, with like the with like the animals and the colors and then the whole the donkey part, like I don't even know how to describe this book to people. I'm like, oh, and there are donkeys. I told you guys about the donkeys, right?
No, is the Asinine race real?
No. Well, okay. So get your ass across the pass is real. I made up Asinine. I just thought it was hilarious. And so I made up that, but these are real races in Colorado. So I was pregnant with my second child, and we're like really pregnant. And the doctor's like, oh, I might not be, you might have to deliver with someone else because I'm doing get your ass across the pass. I'm like, what is that? And she's like, oh, I race with a donkey. I'm like, what? So that you run with it's a real thing in Colorado. It's supposed to like honor like the mining tradition of the state. It's really honestly pretty cool. Not cool when you have to like another obstetrician like pull a human being out of you because she was running with her donkey. But it's it's an honest to God real thing. And I watch, it's called Long's Hope, and they have like a donkey rescue in Colorado. So I watched like all their videos, and then on Colorado Gives Day, I sent them like a donation and I wrote them a whole thing, and they're like, yeah, we don't get how you would have a romance with this donkey. I'm like, I'll send you a book.
Yeah, I was gonna say they need a book because
I feel like the donkeys were really significant though because of their names. Like
they were so significant. That's the other thing I like. I love getting a good old nickname in a book. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just always, it's just sort of like that term of endearment that like only one person has for you, right? And so yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Essie Rose says she didn't believe you either with the donkeys until you told her and you had to send a link.
Did she and I was on the phone with her. I think I was going to like Barnes and Nobles or something like that, and that's when I came up with it. And she's like, "Are you drinking? You shouldn't be driving. Why are you driving?"
So funny. So funny.
Awesome.
Okay, what's next, Leah?
What's next? Just more Raz and Libby chat.
Okay.
So they both deal with a lot of loss in their lives and a lot of heartbreak, but you blend the funny with the emotional really well in this book, which I thought was nice.
Like I was worried about that one because this one was a little bit heavy for both of them, right? I mean, the other books were, Charlotte was, but this was sometimes like loss is a really tricky one, right?
Well, and I think with this one too, like Raz's relationship with Sebastian, like that whole storyline and how that played out, like that was a huge like part of it. And I think that like connection with them is what made it so emotional.
Yeah. I like that little boy. I like the whole boyo thing. It's a thing. I have a alpha reader in London who helped me with like all the arse and wanker, and so like hopefully that's pretty close to how he should sound. But no, that was these two needed that because these two have like such depth. Like I just feel like, like with the athlete and the fighter and the yoga, I just feel like they have like such depth, so they could just really go from pretty low to pretty high.
Well, and I think the emotion really helped connect us to the characters. While the story has whimsy and a little bit of the mystical about it, when you add in the emotion, it kind of grounds the story a little bit too. It makes it feel a little bit more real because, the thought of how do you move on with the guilt of grief? And no one's grief looks the same. And Libby herself is dealing with the grief still of the loss of her mother and trying to be everything for her brothers while dealing with, not so phenomenal of a parental unit.
But even the connection between like Raz and her dad, right? Yeah. Because that her dad just didn't get any breaks, right? The dad didn't have a nanny come in. The dad, like, I'm like, okay, like he deserved because he was hurting too.
Mhm.
So I know there were a lot of things like the grandma got hooked up. Like there was like everybody got off.
Heidi says, I love them coming together over douche Doug.
Oh, Zen Dougie.
Yes, Zen Dougie.
So it's so funny because like I was talking with Carrie about Zen Dougie because I am not a fan of love triangles. They just for me as a reader, they're hard. Like I don't want to have anxiety over that, and I often get mad, especially if it's like two women and like the, the hero, the heroine, and then maybe like the ex or whatever. I always get so much because usually there's that moment where like the hero like goes back to the ex. You're like, why? I just for me, that's not what I need as a reader. So I was a little worried, but we decided this was not like a real love triangle because it
was a love moment, a triangle moment.
Well, like he would work for what they needed, right? Like she was sort of a free spirit, and he would work if that's what, to see if everything was clicking in the hoochie coochie. Like, but Zen Dougie. I know, poor Zen Dougie.
Melissa's like she was thinking about the knobhead Doug. Like they're all giving him names.
Like Wobbly Bob.
That's one of my favorite things is when I go back through and I'm kind of like skimming through reviews. People are like, I love Leslie in class. I don't know what, like different names. I'm like, but that's sometimes what, I mean, honestly, like when I was a teacher, that's what we would do. Like if a name didn't fit for you, you call it L or you'd something else just so you could still get, you'd still connect to it, right? And you'd still get the meaning, but yeah. What they call Knobhead Doug? I like it.
Yeah. I change names in my books sometimes because
you can't pronounce them.
I can't pronounce them. I'm not very good at pronouncing names, especially. Anyway, I read a whole book and the guy's name was Rhys. I read the whole book in my head. It was Rise. His name was Rise.
It is, but it's Reese. It is pronounced Reese.
Okay.
It's Reese. But for the whole book, I pronounced it as Rise.
And so that's who it is. Yeah.
And
we know a couple people who, like, if their hero or heroine has the name of their kids, they will switch it because it creeps them out a little bit.
Much. Yeah. I already named, like, my boys are Will and Nate, and I've already made them like obscure characters. My husband is Dave. Like I think I did it in Langley Park. They've already been used. They cannot be.
They're done.
Right. Cannot be brought back.
I just can't. I know it really is. Or if it's like an ex. I mean, that I just can't. I can't. Like, the funny thing is, so my son, one of the kids in his class has the same name as like someone I dated a long time ago, like the kid's name. And it's like Valentine's Day and Valentine's. I'm like, he doesn't need one.
Doesn't need one. Which is
forget. I'm sure he's a fine.
Let's talk about this picture your boys got you.
The one in my head?
Yes.
I should have them bring that down.
That's so funny. Like what was the reasoning behind that?
I'll get that in a second. So my oldest and I were just out on a walk, and he had gotten a new phone. He wanted to test taking a picture outside, and so we held it up and took like literally the worst picture of the air. I mean, like with the hat and so anyways, they're like, they told my husband like they wanted to get me something for Valentine's Day. And Dave's like, I don't know. I just like put in my credit card number. I don't know what it is. But yeah.
It was fantastic.
I loved it.
I was like, those are great.
I've never laughed so hard. I mean, and now it's like the perfect height. I don't know, that you can like hold it up and take a picture. Like, so we took like a picture of like my son, like
everybody has the Krista face.
And it's just so my son's like, he's like, you can't even tell if you're like a man or a woman. You're just like this blob. I'm like, yeah.
Thanks, buddy. In the chat, I am putting Krista's newsletter. Make sure you join her newsletter. That is a great way to keep track of what's coming next, because
it's the best way, honestly.
And she, like, recently just had books on sale because I bought books. My husband was like, you've spent a lot on Amazon. And this was like in January. You had it on sale for 99 cents. I'm like, they were 99 cents, dude. It's okay. They're 99 cents.
Yeah.
It's basically free.
It is basically free.
It is big. Yeah. We don't like.
Until those 99 cents add up.
Well, unless we have one of our podcast contributors, Heather, who her husband went through 1 month and highlighted her Amazon.
Just her
bill.
Books in Amazon.
And he's like, this is out of control. And she's like, you need to stop.
Well, that's what, like, I don't do a whole lot more. Like, I'm not buying like plants, or I don't know what women do these days, but like,
I buy books.
Yeah.
My books. That's what I do.
Like, it's my hobby. So yeah, no, we don't even, God bless my husband. We've been married, be 20 years this year. I should get something for
we hit the point this year. My husband and I have been together longer than we were apart. So we've been married. It'll be 23 this year, and we've been together 24 years. And it's, we got married at 22 and 23. So
we're still in the teens. We're
right.
14, 15. I don't even know.
I know. Well, that's what Dave. So Dave, because I can't remember.
I have to count back, but I can't do addition and subtraction tonight.
I don't do public math at all. That's why he wrote. You can't see it, but it's engraved in here. So I always remember who I'm like. If lost,
return to. Oh, I love that.
That's amazing.
I love that.
He knew who he married. God bless him, man. But,
God love him. So Raz and Libby are enemies to lovers.
Yeah,
and I guess a little bit of Nanny and the hothead Charlotte and Mitch were a little bit of enemies to lovers.
Is that
I like it. I like when people don't like each other. That's sort of my jam. Well, because usually, like, the thing. Okay, so oftentimes things that you hate are things maybe that you have to change in yourself. Kind of thing, right? So I do like a good enemies to lovers, but I read a lot of that actually. Everyone hates. Wonder what that says about me.
See, I don't love an enemies to lovers, because we actually had a love and lyrics for enemies to lovers, and I had to search for a book.
So does it annoy you that it's kind of grinding at the beginning? Would you like more of that kind of the?
It's more because it's like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Let's have sex. I love you. Like yours, that doesn't bug me, because like there's this like they're not quite enemies. It's more like an animosity, like, to lovers type deal.
Slightly rivalry, almost a little bit. But I don't the popular, the hating game that everybody's just like, oh, that's such a great book. It's the best enemies to lovers. I hate it. Because like even as they're having like relations, they're like, we hate each other. And I'm just like,
although I do like a good hate sex scene.
I can have mad sex, but do you really okay, let's just talk about the physics here. How does a penis get hard if you hate someone? That's all I need to know. Like the science of it.
I think because you desire them more than you hate them.
That's true. There's a thin line between love and hate.
I read a very popular enemies to lovers romance a while ago, and at the end of the book, I texted Leah, and I'm like, I'm still not sure they like each other. Like, this book was like, red flag. Oh, look, red flag. Like, I'm like, I don't even know.
As Becky was like telling me about this book, she's like, yeah, they really like don't get along. They don't like each other. They fight constantly. She's like, I still don't think they like each other, and they're getting married.
So what's the journey? Like, we're just gonna hate each other.
Well, it's Mr. Garcia by T.L. Swan. And it's supposed to be one of the best enemies to lovers. They legit hate each other. And there's a reason they hate each other. Because it starts out, and this is not about your book. So
no, I haven't read it yet, but I love her. So I'm like, okay.
It starts out that she's a high-priced call girl, and he spends money to spend time with her. He's attracted to her, but then his son is also a college student. She's an older, non-traditional college student. And the son believes he is dating her. And she shows up on the doorstep with the son to his house. And that's the prologue. And then it skips forward 8 years, and he's the assistant prime minister or the vice prime minister. I don't know what it is over there in the UK. And he is like, she works as a lawyer and kind of a PR lawyer that has to do with like your image and stuff like that. And they're pushed back together again.
Gotcha.
And their attraction is still there, but they hate each other. Oh, Jen just discovered T.L. Swan in December, and she's obsessed. Yes, and I just got a surprise from T.L. Swan today on my Kindle. I got the new book that drops on Monday on my Kindle today, Fierro.
Ooh.
I'm like,
no, I've seen that.
I feel fancy. The cover is sexy, but anyway,
it's a good cover. Let's go back to Heartthrob.
No,
not Heartthrob, not yet. Although, can you give us any hints about Heartthrob?
It's Harper and Landon.
That's all she's going to tell us. It's Harper and Landon.
And if you read the end,
Beefcake,
you get a little tease into what might be happening.
Yeah. And then you get a lot of a tease when the book comes out. Well, I shouldn't say a tease. You get to be right there with them for what happens. And it's bonkers.
What is the release date do we have a tentative release date for the Heartthrob?
Hold on. I have to find my glasses.
Oh, and do we know what color? What are the colors of the
color?
Because we have thoughts. We have thoughts.
We do have thoughts.
So there is already a cover.
But you haven't shared it yet.
You just need to tell us the color.
We just need to know the color.
I don't even know what it's called. It's sort of more of a dark magenta and yellow.
Like pink. I told you. I told Leah, I said she needs a yellow and a pink to fit.
I agreed with that.
To the covers.
We thought it would look really nice in the rainbow.
Jen, not yet. We haven't gotten an ETA yet for Heartthrob, but we're all asking.
Yeah, you should. It should be on the website. Or it should be on Amazon. It should be the 14th. Oh
Here, my God. Let me look it up.
Okay, Jesus, the 14th.
Yes, 4 books. Hold on. Hold up, people.
To July.
July 14th, 2022.
Yes.
Leah, I will not be available in July. I'm going to be with a Heartthrob.
I'm so excited. Now, can you tell us, does Landon have a boy or a girl?
A girl.
She is amazing.
Well, yeah, because she hinted about the next gen.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do want to say, I love, because when you read Beefcake, I love how he has them in his phone in the group chat.
Oh, it's like wankers.
The wanker chat. Because he really, he doesn't really like these guys.
No.
Does he really like anybody?
No,
outside of Libby and his kid and his grandma. Does he
likes
really
his grandma.
Because I'm pretty sure, and his sisters, he really likes his sisters.
Right.
But I'm not even sure he likes his trainer, and he certainly does not like his PR guy. I mean.
That's why we had to make that guy. That was another thing that I learned when I got to Colorado. And thank God I was dating my husband at the time and almost ordered Rocky Mountain oysters. I did not know what they were. I really didn't know. I mean, truly, I got to Denver, dated every jerk in the state, and then I met my husband, and then started doing everything Colorado, except for not that. I have not done the Rocky Mountain.
You have not done the Rocky Mountain oyster?
No. No, I think Raz is just, he's kind of gruff, right? He's kind of
he's a grump, and I love that.
Right?
I love a grump.
But he's there for the people when they need him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. He's pretty phenomenal. I mean, Mitch has my heart. I licked him, people in the chat. Mitch is mine. You can have everybody else.
You need to stop licking people. It's not fair. You lick everybody.
Okay, well, I read it first, so I get to lick them.
It's true.
I do like him. I do how, I mean, what's just I love about Hothead is that ending was not the ending until, I mean, I really that was not, I didn't even plan how that book was going to end.
Really?
It was going to end like almost like vanilla stupid with the sign. And I was like, it can't be a sign. It can't be a sign. So like I was like walking in circles and talking and on my phone. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, it could be that. And I'm like, no one will see that coming because I didn't see it coming. Yeah.
It was perfect.
Right? Like it had to be that. It had to
but
be
if you think about it, all of these guys, now I'm not sure what's going to happen with Landon, but
so
Rowan
for Landon
and Mitch and Raz, they're all really grumpy guys.
I like
they are.
I mean, if you met my husband, you wouldn't even know
is he a grumpy guy.
Like it's so funny because we'll meet people like from his work and stuff and they're like, how are you? What are you doing? And they're just like, it's your wife. I mean, we kind of are, but we take care of each other.
You mellow each other. Like he's here and you're here and you bring each other to the middle.
We really do. I mean, there really is something for the opposites attract. I know it sounds silly, but
no, same. I'm super social and very much an extrovert, and my husband is an introvert, and he's very thoughtful and very smart. And I'm like, if I'm into something, I'm balls to the wall 100%. And I refer to him often as the voice of reason. And in our podcast relationship, Leah is my voice of reason, but sometimes she forgets that she's the voice of reason. And we end up with 9 summer bingo cards.
Oh, my husband I called him Mr. Safety. People are like, when are you going to have a baby? I'm like, whenever Mr. Safety. Yeah, no, but I really do.
That's so funny.
I really do kind of like that because it doesn't always work. You know, like it's got to be the right sort of grumpy sunshine mix.
Yeah.
Because like it has to be like my flavor of grumpy and his flavor of sunshine.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's kind of.
It's true. I've read some grumpy sunshines that don't really work because they're almost like too grumpy. It's like you can't pull them back from the grumpiness.
Yeah. Like you got to like let up a little bit. But
the grumpus is strong in some people.
But some women love that. Let me tell you, those like there's some bad boys. I mean,
no.
Who doesn't love like just that awful?
I mean, there is something attractive about an asshole. I'm just gonna say it. Like,
and we talk about this like all the like author friends and I do. I mean, it's why we go to movies, why we read books. Like, granted, we wouldn't want like I wouldn't want my niece dating, but that's not real life.
But that's why it's fiction.
This is
it's like Becky, kidnapping is a love language for Becky when it comes to
romance. I love a good
books.
Kidnapping.
But in her real life, like that is not going to happen.
No.
My husband offered her Valentine's Day to rent a van and kidnap me. And I was like, you mean like the Penske truck with the lower thing that's gonna like, and then you're gonna like hit the button and I don't know. He's like, no, I'll rent a van. I'll kidnap you. I'm like, oh, you're so sweet. That's your next
like business venture, like sexy kidnap, like right,
sexy
like, there's escape rooms, but like
I'll kidnap you and you have to escape,
or give him a blowjob, one or the other.
Like there's only 2 ways out.
There's 2 ways
escape.
Out. Escape or blowjob.
I love it. I'll go in on that with you.
Okay, good to know.
Colorado.
What inspired Libby's loss of her O? Because I loved that. Like we saw it starting in Hothead, and she was
so salty about it
and
so
frustrated.
Salty.
But we've all
who
been
wouldn't
there.
Be? She bought like 16 vibrators.
But if you think about it, we as women have all had moments like that in our life. Like where you're super stressed or the anxiety of life gets overwhelming and you aren't able to you've lost your O also, you know, and it's
in that headspace, right? And so this happened. So like the funny vibrator stuff happened. So I don't know, it was a while back, but so I decided to order myself. So my cousin is like, so I did not I was like 30 years old before I had like a battery operated anything. And my cousin was like, you don't have I'm like, no. So I was like, shit. So I got on Amazon and I ordered something, but you
can get anything from Amazon. It's amazing.
Thank God. But see, it was at the time, my neighborhood was kind of new. So like mail delivery was kind of like we'd get our neighbors' mail and packages. So anyways, my device is supposed to come and I go and we have like one of those mailboxes where like you have your key and then like if you get a box, you get another key. So I'm like, I open it up and there's the key. So I take the key out and then I open it. It is another person's package. So I'm like, they have my package and I have their package. So someone in my neighborhood has my vibrator, right, in their package. So I look at the address. I have little kids at the time. And so like I drive and I find the address. I go and like the kids are in the car. Like I have like a kid. I'm like, hi, I think I got your package, but I think you got mine. And she's like, oh, would you like me to walk down and get it? I'm like, absolutely. So we like drove.
Yes, I do.
Walked, we're like, she's like, I can bring it to you. I'm like, no. I'll just, because I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be.
Oh, you don't know if it's going to be discreet packaging?
I don't know if it's going to be like, I don't know what it is. It was.
I like that Amazon like lets you know like in the description now, like this will be packaged discreetly.
They didn't do that like 10 years ago. I was so, I mean, I just remember just like sweating. And then like, this device had all this anxiety wrapped up in it and energy. I'm sort of all about energy. I couldn't get the damn thing to work like at all. I put in like a lot of effort. My husband's like, you done? Can I help you with that?
So Libby Lamb is you.
No, well, Libby Lamb is the frustration of like, that's the craziest story of my whole life is that vibrator.
See, and it's so funny because last Friday night, was it Friday night, Leah? Last Friday night, I went to dinner with my husband. We had margaritas, came home, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm drinking other things. And I was like, started searching things on Amazon and looked at vibrators, and I found one that had all these pictures that showed you it was one that has the Bluetooth connection, so you can use the app on your phone, but it also listens to ambient sound. So if you're listening to music, it pulses.
You can go jogging with it.
And it shows a picture of a woman jogging while using it.
Good for her.
Yoga.
I'm all for it.
And I'm just like, Anyway, I bought it. I'll let you know. I'm not going to be jogging, just so we're all clear.
I mean, if you see me like people watching in my neighborhood, if you just see me running back and forth, like,
yeah, she's really happy.
She loves her running. She loves it.
She spends a lot of time.
I will only run if zombies are chasing me. I don't like to run. I am not a runner.
So if you're on TikTok and you have not watched Menopause Witch, I highly suggest her.
Have you seen that, Krista?
She is a social.
I don't know what I'm doing on. I gotta write it down.
She is a social worker.
We'll send you the links.
But she is also so she's an advocate. She has a brother that is developmentally disabled, and she is his caregiver along with his roommate. She's also his caregiver. She is also the caregiver for her mother-in-law.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
And her mother-in-law had a very old vibrator that she named Frank Sinatra. It was so old, it still plugged in the wall and was duct taped. And the mom got a UTI. Like, she goes through this whole story on TikTok. Mom got a UTI. She had to take mom to the doctor, and the doctor's like, I don't know why she's keep getting UTIs. And the woman's like, I do, Frank Sinatra. So the next time they go back to the doctor, Menopause Witch puts the Frank Sinatra in a bag and shows it to the doctor. And the doctor's like, Frank Sinatra needs to go in the trash and you have to get a new one. So she takes her mother-in-law shopping for a new one, and it's now called Berry White.
I love it. Oh,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, if you aren't following her on TikTok, she's a great advocate
really
for
funny.
people and the people she loves, and she's a great caregiver. But the whole Frank Sinatra, because
Well, and every once in a while we'll get updates about Frank Sinatra. Very late.
Yeah. And like my dad passed like 12 years ago, and my mom, and that was something my sister was like, you're going to need one of these. I will take you. And I'm like, okay, because I'm not. That's just weird. I would not be a good caregiver. I wouldn't. Also in this book, Nanny and the Beefcake, because, you know, we're a hot mess.
We get off the rails a little bit.
My husband's going to kill me. I know he's upstairs like going...
I'm pretty sure I asked him to fold towels, but I'm pretty sure he's in the living room being like, what the fuck? She needs to shut up.
I love that you gave him a task. You're going to fold towels.
Well, he has to fold the towels or I can't go to bed because the laundry baskets are all on my bed.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So there's so many parallels between Raz and Libby, like the sisters and all of that kind of stuff.
Have twin siblings, which I like how
that kind of was like the yin and the yang of things too for them. Yeah. Which I loved that. I loved that you drew all those similarities together, but their experiences were very different.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you can have parallels, but they aren't always going to be the same.
But I think that's when she sort of starts seeing him, you know, she's just sort of thought he was just this dumb jock, beefcake jerk, right? Like just not a whole lot to him. And then like the sisters, and then they talk on the phone, you know, and she, like, you just, through your family, you just see people differently through kids, through this, right? Like,
well, I like how she calls him out, like what, like basically like, because beefcake is basically a persona for him. And I like how she calls him out, and she's like, how do you do that? How do you be the beefcake, or however she worded it? Yeah. Because like it's like a switch flips, and he's all of a sudden this like arrogant, like asshole that nobody wants to deal with.
Right. Well, it's like they're like in the car or whatever, and then they pull up and like the press is there and he just turns it right back on, and she's just like, oh, you know, like it just, it's like, oh, that is, you know.
One of my favorite things though about Libby is like, she's this like Zen. I mean, she's not super Zen at the beginning of the book because she has lost her O and like hitting gongs and going a little crazy. But she does not like deal with his crap. Like she lets him have it.
No, I mean, and that's like, think of like a big sister. You just, and then think about having to deal with like a shit dad. Like you just sort of, you know, especially with men, you have to have your guard up, right? You can't ever just be really vulnerable with these people. Like you're either taking care of the boys, right? And you can't put your baggage on them. And then, you know, your parent isn't accessible either, right? So men have just not been, and you know, and she and her mother were, right? Like they were close. The mom could kind of read her. They're both similar. And so that's why I think Libby and the girls have such a girl bond with each other. And I think that's why.
I love this friend group. Like they're amazing.
I don't know how I'm going to leave them, honestly. Like that is it's so strange because when I started writing Heartthrob, and I constantly tell my husband, like, I'm behind on that. Like all he gets is anxiety. I'm like, this book will never be, I'll never finish it.
Because you don't want it to end.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's really, it's so very strange because I do that with books and audiobooks too. Like I'll save the end so I can like savor it. Like I'll save an audiobook, like if I'm doing like a long, like a drive somewhere on my own, or sometimes I tell the kids I'm going to check my PO box, and that means I'm going to go to Starbucks. I'll check my PO box, but I'll get to Starbucks.
You just make the loop.
You know, so I can't, because I
like to stop and get French fries when I have to drive somewhere.
Yeah.
I like to stop and get French fries. Curly fries from Arby's are a big favorite for me.
I don't really drive anywhere.
I hardly anymore.
I go do the laundry, and it takes like 3 times longer than it should because I'll just stand there and read a book.
And that's I would do that. I'd like space out in Whole Foods a lot to audiobooks, like kind of before the pandemic, before I was like get in, get out. I would just walk up and down the aisle. I would like look at stuff, but I would be like listening to my book the whole time. Because I like to savor, especially like the ends of books. So.
Well, earlier today I was working, I had a bunch of other things to do and I was working on something and I was like, the book I was reading didn't come in audiobook. So I used the Alexa trick where she'll read you the book in the app if it's a Kindle book. And but I didn't have headphones in. I just had it like playing out of my phone. And my 16-year-old walks into the room and she goes and is doing something on the counter. I was making waffles for dinner and I was like, oh, sorry. And I paused it and she's like, listen, I'm done. I don't even hear anything that comes out of your phone anymore because none of it is ever good. It's always naughty. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, she walks into Becky and my conversations a lot of times and it's not always like at a good spot.
Right.
No. It's
always
just
the worst timing.
Well, that's so my son told me today in the car, because I have the book like in the car because I pick him up from high school. And he is so funny. He's like, when you die and I have the rights to all this, I'm going to rewrite these books. There's going to be like a Rambo. There's going to be like a machine gun fight. I'm like, oh, and then he calls every character I write, he calls her Georgina. He's like, what is Georgina? I'm like, it's Libby in this book. He's like, Georgina and who? And like Erasmus. He's like, like this poor kid. He's just so funny. But yeah, so when I'm dead and gone, God knows what's gonna
happen to those books. In the chat, I did put Krista's Instagram in there. Again, all the links to follow, like, subscribe, her newsletter, everything is in the description of the video. If you guys haven't done those things, you should absolutely do those things. Before, I don't know, we're at 10:30, so we've been doing an hour here.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize. Don't be sorry. We're enjoying it, and I think we've kept our audience, so I think they're enjoying our chaos. Thanks for hanging.
3 people. So who is it? So it's Carrie. It's Sarah.
We have 20 viewers, and we're at 60 playbacks already. So people are in and out and joining us, which we love. Thank you.
We do. It's because you shared the crap out of this thing.
Well, you are like queen.
Well,
queen of shares.
Well, I mean,
of shares. We should get her a tiara. How do you say that?
I love a tiara. I have to say, like, I love my readers. I mean, I honest to God, when people message me about being excited about something, or even they message like, this book helped me through. I mean, truly, that's why I got into this. Was that romance did so much for me. I mean, it truly did. And like Pamela Clare, I don't know if you've read any of hers, but if you have not read the I-Team series,
just
start. So good.
They're in the library, Leah.
Yeah, they are in the library. You can listen to them.
Not my library, probably, but Becky's library. My library is kind of. But Becky shares her card with me.
Oh, I mean, she's everywhere, but Pamela.
I'm writing her down.
She is accessible and she is open. And she is real. And so she was the first person. So I was reading romance without really knowing that there was a community of romance, honestly. Like I didn't even know. And so she was the first person that I went into like my old mom Facebook and like typed in her name. I said, oh, she has like a group. And that is how I kind of got to know her. And now I know her and she's like an amazing person, but she is sort of like I want that. I want people to be like, oh, not that like, oh, I wrote Krista Sandor a letter and somebody wrote something, thank you. I want to be like, I'm right there with you, or I'm so sorry you're going through hard times, but it'll be better. Or, I mean, I had a gal on Instagram today telling me everything she wants to happen to Libby. Phoebe. Everything. People have feelings about little girl Phoebe. Like they know exactly what they want.
Because she's a princess hot dog.
She is. She's a hot dog fairy. She's like, she's. Anyways, I
love her.
I do too. She is. So I taught 1st and 2nd grade, at a school very much like where the kids go to school. And I had like this, my first year there, I had this group of little girls and I just put them all together to make Phoebe. I mean, these little girls were just like in Denver, we didn't have air conditioning. So the windows are always open. They would be out at recess and I'd be eating my lunch and I would always drink like Diet Dr. Pepper and I'd hear them behind me. They'd stand because the window's open like this. I'd hear them. They watch me eat and they'd be like, she's drinking so much Diet Dr. Pepper. How many Diet or just so, I mean, I would just hear them just so funny. I mean, they're women now. That's how long it's been. But like, those girls.
Heidi says she loves, talking about Phoebe, she loves when she made Sebastian say her whole title because she loved his accent.
I know.
I love that she hides cookies in the garage and then totally sells herself
not even in the
out.
garage. Like, well, and like when she's talking about like Penny and Rowan, like putting
and the book off the shelf. It's Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. It's a book, or someday he pretends to be the plumber. She's so
like they have this whole schedule, and I just think that's hilarious. But it like keeps popping up in later books, and he's like, oh, and like when Sebastian was complaining about them kissing, she's like, oh, don't worry, that happens all the time.
Oh, I know. And like Oscar's in there, they're like, yeah, get used to it, dude.
It is.
Oscar's a little more like subtle in his like chaos, but Phoebe, like, she's a strong personality. Like,
yeah. She is. And what's fun about now, because, you know, now Phoebe sort of kind of ruled the roost with the boys, right? Like she's, and now this new little girl is, I mean, it'll be a great mix, but it's this little girl is she's no wallflower for sure. But she's
going to have to be to kind of make inroads with Phoebe because Phoebe is like the boss.
Yeah,
she is the lady in charge.
It blends well because the boys are kind of like they go with the flow. If
you think about it, the girls are more like the guys in the book. Like the little girls are more like Rowan and Mitch and Raz. And the boys are more like the nannies because they're just a little more laid back observers. And you know, I loved it. Okay, so before we get to what's next and our prize.
We have to do the giveaways.
Well, I know, but I want to give my little spiel about our Patreon, Leah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So just give me 1 minute. 1 minute.
Just one.
So if you are new to the Buzzing About Romance experience and you are enjoying our time here on the YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do one of these 1 to 2 a month. It just depends on what life is happening, but also give us a follow on Instagram because we do pop in with Instagram lives a little more often. We have 2 next week. But also, we are fully an independent podcast, and you can find us on whatever podcast app you like to use. That could be iTunes, Google Play, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, Amazon. You can ask your Echo to play Buzzing About Romance and they will play it. But we are 100% funded by our Patreon campaign. So you can find ways to support us. And that also includes our once a month virtual gathering of Drunk Book Club. And Patreon starts out as low as best night of the month. Patreon starts as low as $5 a month to help us out. So you can find us on patreon.com/bookcase and coffee. Look, I did my whole commercial.
That was well done.
Thanks.
I liked it.
Leah's always like, you do it because you know everything.
There's a lot of words in that.
That was a lot of words.
It was a lot of words. Okay. If you have stuck with us thus far and are enjoying yourself, give us a hi in the chat so we can write your name down.
If you're not enjoying yourself, you have stuck with us.
Even if you're just like, why have I read this woman's book? She's great.
Why have I sat here for an hour and listened to these crazy people? This is like kind of calm, actually.
We are very calm tonight.
We had a Galentine's event earlier this month where one of our community members gave bartending lessons. She did bartending 101 for us.
Yeah, it got a little out of control.
I can't imagine.
By the end of the night, she made a zombie that she was showing us how to light a drink on fire. And she was
not
like,
allowed to do it.
She's like, nobody in this chat is allowed to light their drink on fire. None of you.
Did something
no, but we were all really drunk.
We were very inebriated.
Imagine.
It was a good night.
It was.
But usually, like on Drunk Book Club nights or like book chat check-ins, like Becky and I are not both like three sheets to the wind.
Right, like somebody needs to be like the adult in the room. Yeah.
There is an adult in the chat, but there was not an adult that night. Like we both were. It was a good night. We had a lot of fun.
It was. We were a mess.
We were feeling it on Sunday.
It was a good thing we didn't have to record an episode because there would have been no words.
Rough.
There would have been words, but it would have been tough.
Wow, there are so many people in the chat. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, truly. Thank you. And thank you for people that read my newsletter. Thank you for people that read my newsletter and find the typos and send them to me. Like, honestly, I'm not kidding. I love that. Like the teacher in me, I'll read it 100 times.
It's tough to find all those little, like, sometimes like a random thing, like you'll read it correctly every time you do it. And it's like somebody points it out and you're like, how did I miss that? Like it's obvious.
I have to tell you that is one of the biggest revelations of being like doing this now, because I can find errors in anybody else's like that. My own stuff. And I think it's just because you're so deep in it. But okay, I'll let you.
My husband asks me all the time to spell things, and I'm a visual speller. Like I have to see the word to tell if it's spelled right or not. And I'm like, he'll be like, how do you spell this? And I'll be like, hold on, I have to type it. He's like, really? You're an editor and you have to type it? I'm like,
oh, but even so, like there are words like I type wrong every time. Like the word available, I know how to spell it, but I have spelled it wrong so many times. It is auto-corrected incorrectly in my phone.
Yeah,
my phone no longer podcast. I spell apparently podcats now. And in my phone, and it doesn't fix it anymore. It doesn't even underline it.
Although I do like this, like I've used the word douche nugget so many times that it pops up.
Nice. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so I have 12 people that are here still hanging out.
They oh my God. So hold on. So that is it everyone in my family? No.
I have Bissy and Jenny and Heidi and Melissa and Lainey and Christina and Lucy and Susie and Heather and Jen and Gretchen and MBK, Cynthia, Lily, Z, and Heather. But Carrie doesn't want to enter.
Those are just people that
Carrie already got her. Carrie got
We probably have more, but those are just people that commented.
Okay, so I need 3 numbers between 1 and 12.
Oh my gosh. 2, 9, and 12.
Okay.
Are those 3 numbers?
Yeah, those are great numbers.
I told you I don't do public math. I don't.
So we have Melissa and Jenny and Susie that all won. So, and we, that's okay. I am going to put my email in the chat. It is thebees@bookcaseandcoffee.com. So, Melissa, Jenny M, and Susie A, if you guys send me an email with your address and mailing stuff, I will send it on to Krista, and she will send you your very own beautiful copy of the Beefcake. And if you're interested in getting a signed copy for yourself and you didn't win tonight, Krista's store is open, and she has signed copies of her book up for purchase and available on her website. And her turnaround is super fast.
Oh, yeah, you can get, yeah. We are speedy here at Krista Sandor Romance. We get that.
You guys were. Like, I purchased, because we gave away the hothead for one of our blind dates at our Galentine's Day event. And I purchased it, and I want to say, like, that afternoon, like, I had shipping notice. And I'm like, she is on
It was definitely
this.
within the week.
I was, like, driving through Ohio, like, asking, like... Bring it right to your house.
Who wants hothead? He's here. So...
Oh.
Anyway, they're all beautiful. I love Nanny and the Beefcake. And so remind us again when we will see the Nanny and the Heartthrob.
Nanny and the Heartthrob will be out July 14th.
July 14th.
I don't know if I can wait until July.
Jen, she does package like a boss because you saran wrapped the books so none of my corners got bent. Like, I loved you a little more than I loved you before when I
honestly,
opened that
I could not
package.
find the edge of the saran wrap in my last package, and I was real mad.
I do it twice. I go around this way, and then I go around this way, and then
and then you have to search for it.
You know what? It's a treasure hunt to get a book.
It is. It's beautiful though.
Nothing breaks my heart more when I open something and like I get a book and it's all like,
and the corners are all bent up.
Yeah. Like even so this came from Amazon. I'm not.
Oh, Amazon's the worst.
I'm not okay with. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not okay with that. I'm not.
The cut isn't clear.
I ordered a book from Amazon once, and they sent it, and I get my kids' vitamins from Amazon because I subscribe and save because But so they put the loose vitamin jars in with a loose paperback. I was so mad.
Like that's. I'm getting angry
a
right
bent,
now thinking.
Like a bent corner. Actually, a cracked spine stresses me out. So a bent corner is the worst.
I don't like anything. I want my books because when
you want pristine.
This is not when I buy a paperback, it's because I want to love.
You just want to look at it.
I read exclusively on my Kindle, but I love to have paperbacks of all my favorites. You know.
Right.
They just look pretty.
Yeah.
If really you see decoration.
If I have taken the time to, because I probably have purchased the ebook, if you see the book on my shelf, it is because I love them. It is special. And I licked them and they're mine, Leah. See all that up there?
Hey, she's still doing it. She's still
it's okay.
them
I
all.
lick lots of others that she can't have. So
okay. But Krista, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to everybody who tuned in.
Absolutely.
Was part of the chat. Enjoyed our chaos tonight.
Truly, it means everything to me. It really, no joking around. It means everything.
Nanny and the Beefcake is available now. You can purchase it, or it is available in Kindle Unlimited. And again, if you want a signed paperback, check out Krista's store on her website. We will be back March 18th with newer author Elsie Silver. So make sure you check out our
for a second, didn't you?
Because I keep saying it wrong, so I was trying to be good. Make sure you like and subscribe our YouTube channel so that you can be notified when we go live. But also you can check out bookcaseandcoffee.com/events to see all the cool upcoming things we have going on, because we have lots.
We have so many things going on.
So many things.
So many.
Anyway.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Krista. Thank you, everybody that tuned in for the night.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I love our book world. I just love it.
It is. It's the best place to be.
It is.
Anyway, until next time, everyone.
Happy reading, everybody.